Nice to see you, to see you!
And on the conveyor belt tonight, an oil lamp, a floral encasement, a stone flagon of wine,
a thing,
a soda siphon and an ice bucket, a cuddly dog, a wall clock, a fan heater,
another thing,
an electric tea maker and timer,
What did I say?
During the meanwhilest.
During the meanwhilest? No, I don't
No.
like that at all.
Oh, remember those days? Saturday evenings, a fish and chip supper. Bruce Forsyth with his Generation Game and Anthea giving us a twirl. And I don't mean a chocolate bar. Happy days indeed. Anyway, it is us back with, more things I've bought on the conveyor belt of photography to tell you about. And in a really rather tenuous link to that intro, Nisi to see you. Don't worry, it only gets worse as well. Now, as you know, I am a huge devotee of nature and macro photography, and as such, I have built up a decent kit of lenses and accessories to go with them, including a macro focusing rail. It was this cheap old thing, though, which I think cost me around £10 when I bought it. Goodness knows how many years ago, and, well, it's broken. The gears are now either too tight or too loose to the point that the rail will no longer hold the camera in place. Now, I could probably repair it, but for the low outlay, it has served me really well, so I figured I'd buy a replacement. And given that my photography has now shifted massively towards the macro side of things, I decided to treat myself to a decent one. Now, I looked at models from various manufacturers before resting on this Nisi one. Now, it's not their most expensive model, but this rail, their NM180-S, came in at just over £100. Now, quite a lot, I know, but worth it, I think, considering the amount of use I'll put it to. And my money has bought me an extremely well-engineered piece of metal with an Arca Swiss compatible base plate to secure it to my tripod head, and a further Arca Swiss clamp to in turn hold my camera. Now, the whole thing glides along with the turn of a beautifully damped control wheel with 1mm increments measured along the main rail. Now, the camera clamp can also be rotated through 360 degrees and locked in any position. Now, what this rail will do is enable me to lock focus on an object, and then instead of changing the focal point via the lens, I can more accurately move it via the control wheel, ensuring precisely measured shifts between each focal point. And I think this will be especially invaluable to me when focus bracketing. Now, in use, the clamps are extremely solid, locking the rail to my tripod and my camera to the rail really securely. The control wheel is wonderfully smooth and can be controlled either via the wheel itself or by a pull-out handle. One full turn of the wheel advances or retards the focal point by 1 full millimeter. Now, finally, the rail stands on 4 removable feet. Now, how handy these will be, I don't know, but the whole thing is really well engineered and made, and feels like it will see me out, to be honest. Anyway, while I was on I'll put this down, I got a bag as well for it. Anyway, while I was on the Nisi website, I came across another bit of kit I've been considering getting for ages, and that is one of these alternatives to an L bracket for my landscape shooting, such as it is these days anyway. But even though my landscape or seascape outings are few and far between, anything that actually then makes the shooting process simpler is a bonus. So I also bought one of their wizard clamps, and I got the W-82D model. Now, they make 4 different ones: a 63mm clamp for Sony cameras, a 72mm one recommended for Nikon Z and Fujifilm X mount, and this Canon RF mount, I think it is 82mm M designated one that I got. Now, this is made specifically for larger mirrorless cameras, and for DSLRs you need the D designated model, gives you more movement there. Now, I got the larger one and not the specific Fujifilm one, as it will enable me to put the bracket on and take it off the camera without removing the lens. Something which, while at the coast, in particular, I don't really enjoy doing. Now, the clamp attaches to the camera via an Arca Swiss compatible base plate and then allows full movement between the horizontal or landscape and vertical or portrait orientations, all without removing the camera from the tripod altogether. Think of it like a tripod collar mounted to a telephoto lens, except this mounts to your camera. You can then shift between landscape and portrait orientations much more easily, and with the lockouts at each position, the camera is held as securely as with any L bracket. Now, for someone who enjoys shooting in both landscape and portrait, this is an absolute godsend, completely eliminating any chance of me dropping my camera while changing positions again. This is something I do worry about, given the current state of my health and dwindling strength. Now, there are a few manufacturers like Small Rig and I think Atoll offering similar products, but I've always been happy with Nisi stuff, having used several of their filters over the years and always been impressed with their quality. Now, like the focus rail, this feels an extremely well engineered and built piece of equipment, which again will surely be more than fit for whatever I can throw at it. So there we go then, my two latest gear acquisitions. A little left field maybe, but there you go. Give me a few months with them and I'll report back with a longer term review of these clamps. Until Saturday then, when we'll be looking at this Nikon D3100 that rather embarrassingly I thought I'd sold but then found in my loft. Until then, be nice, okay? See you then. Ta-ra.